What is up, YouTube? Hope you guys having a wonderful day. You know, some I've understood that the ego is not your enemy, and it's actually your friend. It's actually the best friend that you can have when it comes to dealing with life, struggles, especially dealing with people. The ego can either make you or break you. That's why, when I hear people say, "Oh yeah, I went on this like psychedelic trip and I killed my ego." What they're really saying is that they resetted their ego and they managed to figure out how to utilize it for their own benefits. Like I was saying with the healthy narcissism, the ego will help you in every uncomfortable, uncertain situation you've been into. But the thing is that nobody knows what's correct and what's, not correct when you're dealing with, your ego, right? Like, for example, my young, immature self was thinking about, fear 24/7. So, what does that mean? My ego was reacting off of fear. The more you react, the more show off your insecurities amongst strangers or people you're dealing with. And when people sense insecurity, they don't respect you automatically. They treat you like you're a doormat. And it don't matter what you do or say, they'd rather quit the job than let you be a team lead or supervisor or manager. But for the most part, the ego is your friend. And it all depends on how you see yourself. The only way that I could think of how you could conquer your ego without doing drugs like psychedelics, LSD, all that other stuff, right? Is you really do have to go out there, spend some time alone and see how you are in a situation where you're alone. No, I'm not saying get into a bar fight or get into altercation, like something illegal, right? I'm not saying get into a fight unless you're like wanting to get into MMA, self defense, kickboxing, Muay Thai. That's a different story. That's actually a really good start, but the risks are very high. Like we're talking brain damage, concussions, stuff that can really hurt you down the road if you plan on, living a long, stable life. But if you're like me, who just like an average Joe, who's coasting through life and learning as he's going, I would advise just take it one day at a time, or lay one brick a day if that's what helps you. The ego will supply you with more energy than you can even think of, and all it takes is for you to get into uncomfortable situations that you are not certain with. And once you overcome it, either you fail or you achieve it, you know from the back of your mind that everything will be okay. Like I literally have a video of me getting pepper sprayed. If anybody has ever been pepper sprayed before, you'll realize that you are in a very vulnerable situation. Like you are blind for 2 hours. And those 2 hours, anybody could hurt you and take your life. But because I went through that situation and I felt what it's like to be vulnerable and blind with no vision of where I'm going, and I made it through with just, like dry eyes and lots of pain when I'm blinking, I feel different. Like I really do feel different. And it's just like going into a new environment where you don't know anybody And the more you go into that environment and get to know everybody and understand how the operation works, or just the way how, the regulars come in, then everything will just, fall into place where you'll feel certain that nothing will happen to you. Don't, fall into the trap of, being complacent. Complacency is where you're just going through the motions and you're not really thinking about what is going on. It's kind of like you're on autopilot, right? I always take out the autopilot in my mind, and my ego helps me decipher and distinguish, what's good, what's bad, or when I need to slow down or when I need to speed it up. That is what I mean, when the ego is your friend. If you've ever, been in I guess you could say a marathon or a race, or if you've done some physical labor work, and you're on like a time crunch where, you got to get your job, you got to finish your job project, then the ego will tap into your mind, hit your nervous system, and now you're on overdrive if you have that fire in you. But see, that's another video that I like to talk about. That fire is what drives you to do what you have to do at the end of the day. But don't underestimate a day off. Don't ever overwork yourself for a company that will replace you the next day. Relax, breathe in, breathe out. Understand that you are here in the current moment and you are breathing and living. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys later.